Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It is the time to cook Addmaths again. Today, this video I will cover Actual SPM 2024 Paper 2 Section C. And there are actually 4 questions in Section C, but I'm actually going to cover just 2 of it, which is your Form 4 Chapter 9, Solution of a Triangle, and Chapter 10, Index Numbers. Okay, now let's straight dive into question 12. Diagram 6.1 shows the triangular cardboard MFH, okay? And it says based on diagram 6.1, derive the cosine rule for the side MH. Okay, this is your MH. So to start that, I would like to reintroduce the cosine rule first, which is a squared equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc and then cos angle A. So to give you an idea, right, as we have to derive the cosine rule, we have to make up an equation that would actually represent cos A and b squared plus c squared. We have to find something to replace it and make it up as b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cos A. So I'm going to show you how we can do that. The very first step is you got to break this triangle into two right angle triangle. Okay, so over here, let's just give them X, okay? And then we're gonna put one more capital letter here, represent P here, and then we use small letter T here to represent the dotted line. And of course, on your left hand side here, this is gonna be M minus X, okay? Because the full length for H to F is the M. But once you written down here is X, the H to P itself will be M minus X. Okay, so let us list down again. We have PF equal to X. We have pH, which is bracket m minus x. We also have p to n, which is t. So to be honest, we need 3 equations in order to derive such a cosine rule formula here. So let's start with the first equation. Now the first equation, you focus on the larger triangle, okay, which is MHP. If I want to create an equation, which is a valid one, I'm going to use the Pythagoras theorem rule here, because f squared is equal to t squared plus m minus x squared, right? And then if I expand this bracket, I'm going to get m squared minus 2mx plus x squared. And that will be my f squared equation, which I consider as the first equation. Second equation is I want you to shift your attention to the smaller triangle. Same case, which is you're going to take your h square equally to x squared plus t squared. Okay, x squared plus t squared. But the difference is I want you to make your so-called t squared as your so-called, sorry, I want you to make your h squared as your t squared as your subject, t squared. Okay, so t squared as my subject, that means I have to move my x squared to the left. So t squared is h squared minus x squared. Okay, I have to replace this t squared equal to h squared minus x squared. Let's write down number 2. Okay, the third one is that we have to find a way to create an equation linked to cos angle A. But of course, in our case, right, because we are trying to prove MH for the cosine rule, MH reflects the angle of F, right? So it must something related to angle F here. And the easiest way to create an equation related to angle F is by doing cos angle F, okay, equal to cos is adjacent over hypotenuse. Based on this smaller triangle, the adjacent is x and your hypotenuse is h. So write it down x over h. And then I want you to make your x as your subject. So you're going to move your h on the other side. This one will equal to h cos angle phi. And that will be your third equation. Okay, as I said earlier, you will have to replace the t squared, including this x squared, so that you can actually achieve this cosine rule here. So what I mean by that is, okay, let me just rewrite here, f squared. Currently it's t squared plus m squared minus 2mx plus x squared, right? Okay, if you notice in your second equation, right, h squared minus x squared is equal to t squared. So if I want to make it smoother in terms of my equation sequence, I will try to arrange my x squared at the front, t squared plus x squared, followed by plus m squared minus 2mx. And then I'm going to replace the t squared minus t squared plus x squared, okay, equal it to t squared plus x squared. Over here, the t squared, we equal it to bracket h squared minus x squared, and then followed by there is a x squared at the back plus m squared minus 2m, and then there is an x here. Okay, x here, right, I want you to replace with the third equation here, which is h cos angle f. Okay, so right now, if we open up this bracket, my negative x squared and positive x squared, we can cancel them. We left with h squared, and then plus m squared minus, expand this out, you get minus 2mh, and then cos angle f. And at the front is your f squared. So this is exactly the Petua cosinus in Malay and cosine rule in English. The exact a squared equal to b squared minus 2bc cos angle a. All right, and this is how we can actually derive the cosine rule for side MH. Okay. Okay, cool. So let us move on with question B then. Question B. The cardboard is placed into a cuboid as shown in diagram 6.2. So it says it is given that M is the midpoint of the side AB. Okay, if M is the midpoint of side AB, that means over here it's 6, and over here will be 6 as well. Okay, so now they want us to find angle MFH. So put your attention onto just the triangle here. MFH. Okay, just this triangle. So if you want to find the angle of MFH, which is this angle, okay, which is this angle, first of all, we don't have any sides like of this triangle. For example, we don't have MH, we don't have MF, and we also don't have HF. But we can go and find it out. And usually in 3D diagram, right, you won't run away with Pythagoras theorem. This concept alone is very important for you to find those lengths. So let me give you an example. Okay, let us start with the easiest one, MF. Okay, MF, right, can be found using Pythagoras theorem. Now, if you focus on M, B, and F, right, there is a right angle triangle formed over here. Okay, as soon as I use my blue color pen to bold it, then you will notice there's a right angle triangle here. And if there's a right triangle, the M to F is actually hypotenuse, which is the longest line for the triangle MBF. So over here, right, we can actually do square root of 6 squared plus 5 squared. 6 squared plus 5 squared give you square root of 61. Square root 61, that is MF. Okay, and then we're going to proceed with the next one, HF. HF is the same scenario. You see, if I underline this, followed by FG and H to G, this is actually a right angle triangle here. So we can actually do square root of 12 squared plus 9 squared. And then you will get an answer, which is 15. All right, you're going to get 15 in cm, in cm. Now, the harder part is your M to H. You know why? Because the M to H, right, it's like in the middle. Okay, the line is not attached to A. It's like it's in between A and B. And then it's connected to the angle, the bottom left H point. So to do that, right, we have to do it this way. Let me just draw a line here. Okay, stop at this point. Let me give them X here. And then from X, I connect it to H point. Right, now imagine there is a right angle triangle here in between MXH. All right, this is a right angle triangle, MXH. Okay, so MXH here, and then next thing is I need you to focus on the one that I highlight right now in green. Okay, as you can see here, from E to X, E to H, and also H to X. Okay, this is a right angle triangle, right? This is a right angle triangle at the bottom of the rectangular of the cuboid, the entire cuboid. So if I were to get the H to X, huh? Because over here, E to H is 9 cm. Okay, I got it from the opposite length here. So to get my XH is square root of 9 square plus E to X. This is 6 here, 6 square. So 9 square plus 6 square will give you the result of 3 third 30. But this is not what we want because we want M to H. So M to H right now, you can get it by doing square root of, okay, we already have this height here, which is 5. And then the hypotenuse here, we just found out is 3 third 13. So that means if you want to get MH right, what you want to do is to perform bracket 3 third 13 square plus 5 square, and that will give you your actual MH, and then you will end up with third 142. Okay, so this is your first three lengths of the triangle MFH. Let's just recreate the triangle here. So we have MFH, and then let us label down those lengths. We got MF is third 61, and then HF is 15, and MH is third 142. So to get the angle F here, what is the formula that you can apply? If you ask yourself, you knew that you can actually apply cosine rule. So cosine rule means I will write down bracket third 142 square equal to bracket third 61 square plus 15 square minus, all right, I'm out of space. Let me just copy this down. Oh, I don't have enough space here. Okay, it's okay. Let me just continue here. I try to make it clear enough for you to see it. Plus 15 square minus 2 bracket third 61 times 15, and then you want to cos angle MFH, which is the one that we are looking for. Okay, so my next row will be, I could straight away actually write here angle MFH equal to I will write here third 61 square. Hold on, let me include the cos -1 here at the front. Okay, open up a bracket. All right, third 61 square plus 15 square minus third 142 square over, then this is going to be 2 times third 61 and 15. All right, this is what you're going to get as a result as soon as you write down the formula until the last step. So if you press calculator with this answer, you will get, with this equation, you will get the result of 52.08 degree for the angle MFH. Okay, so how do I do this is that I actually move this -2 third 61 15 thing to the left, and then I move this to the right. So that is how third 61 square plus 15 square minus third 142, and then divided by 2 times 61 and 15 is because when I move this to the left, eventually I have to move this thing here, this thing to the bottom, to the other side bottom. The 2 third 61 and 15, I have to move to the other side bottom. So it becomes division. And then why there is a cos -1 at the front is because in the end, I also have to move the cos to the other side. I press shift cos. So that is how I end up with 52.08. If you actually learn this topic, you understand what I'm actually sharing right here, right? So that is how you get angle MFH. And then number 2 here is I'm going to share with you some of the magic, some of the trick that you can actually sketch all those new triangle whenever question like this is given. So let's read through the question together. It is given that triangle MFH, this is a new triangle, yeah, with the prime here, has a different shape from triangle MFH, such that MF equal to MF, MH equal to MH, and angle MHF is the same as MHF. Sketch the new triangle of MFH. So if I put down the triangle here, okay, I just recreate it. This is your M, this is your F, and this is H, right? And then we have cert 61 here, 15, and cert 142. We also just found the angle here, right? The angle over here, 52.08. So whenever you look at question 2a, okay, I want you to determine the most repeated alphabet letter, which is M here, right? As you can see, we break it down into two types of info. One is about the length, this is about the panjang, and the other one is about your sudut, which is the angle here. So if you focus on the length information, right, the most repeated alphabet is M. So that means my M, right, is locked. I couldn't move the M. And at the same time, I want you to write here M prime slash M prime. Okay, next is, if you look at angle information, we focus on the H angle, right? That means your old triangle and the new triangle, the H angle must be the same. At the same time, this also reflects that my H shouldn't be moving. It must remain at this position. I write here slash H prime. Now, the only thing you can play around is your point F. Where should you put your point F so that you could achieve or align with the condition that the question wants? Just remember one concept, isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle. Generally, we will have to implement this concept in this triangle here. So when I say isosceles triangle, that means my left side and right side length will be the same. Okay, let me show you. This is how we can actually form an isosceles triangle within the big triangle, within this MHF triangle. See here, if I draw a dotted line like this, I would assume that these two lines are actually the same line. So I will put down F prime over here. And at the same time, let us go and verify if this is isosceles triangle, then over here will be cert 61. So the new MF must be the same length as original MF. Okay, you can see yourself. So these two are isosceles, therefore the new MF will be the same as old MF. Okay, MH will be the same length as original MH. Yes, of course, because I didn't even move their coordinates, right? So last one is, you see, new MHF will be the same as the original MHF angle H here. So the angle H here doesn't change because I didn't even move a single point of H here. So the new triangle that you want to sketch, right? Okay, let me share with you. You're going to sketch this part. Sketch this, this, and this. So you will end up with this green color highlights triangle here. Somehow like this. Okay, this is your M prime, F prime, and H prime. This is the triangle that you want to sketch, okay, in your answer sheet. So now we are done with the sketching part. Next is they want us to find angle FMH, which is here, okay, and then calculate the area in cm square of the whole new triangle. So in order to get this theta here, okay, what we can do first is, let's go back to this original triangle here. As you can see, this is isosceles, so this side will be the same 52.08, right? If this is 52.08, the other side, what would it be? This side, it will be 180 minus 52.08. If 180 minus 52.08, I suppose you're going to get a result of 127.92, right? You're going to get 127.92. So this is actually 127.92. But this is not enough for you to find the theta. because you are lack of angle H. So what is your angle H? Okay, right now we have to go and look for angle H. To look for angle H, right, we refer back to the original triangle first. What are the informations that we actually have? Okay, we have cert 61 here. The opposite of cert 61 is angle H. And then at the same time, we also have what? We also have the so-called 52.08, right? And the opposite of 52.08 is the length of cert 142. So that means we also learned before one of the thing is sine rule. We can apply sine rule to get our angle H here. So sine rule means, let me just put down here, I would write here sine angle H over cert 61 equal to sine 52.08 over cert 142. Okay, I'm going to create this equation so that I could get my angle H. So bring this over and bring the sign to the right as well. Your angle H can be found by sin negative 1, open up a bracket. This is sin 52.08 divided by cert 142 multiplied by cert 61, close bracket. So make sure when you press the calculator, right, make sure you finish everything inside the bracket first, and then only you do shift sign and the answer. Okay, so you're gonna end up with the actual angle for H, which is, let me just double check here. I think you should get 31.13 here. So that means over here, the angle is 31.13. That's how it works. 31.13. Now we already have the angle H. We also have the so-called F prime angle. So what we do next is we can actually take 180. We take away 31.13. We also take away 127.92. So by doing this, you could actually achieve the angle, which is M. This is F prime, M prime, H prime. That is what you can achieve. So angle F prime, M prime, H prime is, if you minus all the way, you get 20.95. 20.95. And that is for M prime angle. Okay, of course, they also ask you to calculate the area of this triangle here. So to do that, it's much more easier because we already have the cert 142 for HM, and we also have cert 61 for the M prime F prime, the length of the M prime F prime. And then we also just found the angle here for M. So I'm gonna do area of triangle M prime, F prime and H prime will be 1 over 2 AB sine C. AB is like your left hand side and right hand side. And then the sine C, that C is the angle in between the two sides line that you choose. For example, we chosen cert 61 and cert 142. So the angle that I use for the sine C will be the angle M prime. So that means this is 1 over 2 bracket cert 142 multiplied by cert 61, and then you continue by sine 20.95. And from there, you'll be able to get your area of this triangle, which is 16.64 cm squared. And that is how you get your full 10 marks for Form 4 Chapter 9. Okay, now remember the method that I shared with you here for sketching any part of the sketching, right, is fixed though. For whichever length information, you just have to notice which point you cannot be moved and which point you are allowed to move. And when you move the point, such as F in this case, most of it they will follow a rule of isosceles triangle. Just create that isosceles triangle, whether it is facing right here or whether it is the ballet upside down, it both works. Okay, it works. All right. So that is all for now for Form 4 Chapter 9. We're going to move on with Form 4 Chapter 10, which is index numbers. Okay, now let's scroll out and dive into Form 4 Chapter 10. Now they say table 4 shows information for 4 ingredients used to produce a type of biscuit. Okay, understand. And then they have ingredient A, B, C, D to actually make a type of biscuit. We have price in the year 2023 and 2022. We also have price index of 23 based on 22 and the weightage respectively. Okay, we want to find the value of x, y, and z. So to get our x, right, we take the year 2023, the price, 2.10, divide by 2022 price, which is x, times 100. This is the price index formula, and then we will get the price index of the rest corresponding years. So this is 130. Okay, and then the rest is basic operation. We have to move here and there. So my next step is 2.10 over x equal to 130 over 100. And if you want to get your x is actually 2.10 divided by, this is 130 over 100. Make sure you complete this first. 130 divided by 100 first, then only you take 2.1 divide by the so-called 1.3. Okay, then you're going to get the answer here. X is 1.62. Now, if you want to include the RM, I think it's fine at the front. You can always include RM 1.62 since this is actually the price of the ingredient A. So including the RM will be better. Okay, next, the y exists at the price index. So we can create a same equation to get your y, which is using the latest year 2.4 and then divide by the previous year, the base year, which is 2022, 2 ringgit 2.00 times 100, and this will lead to your price index, which is y in this case. So this one you can straight away press calculator. I think calculator going to give you 120. 120. Okay, so that is x and that is y. One more, which is z here. Okay, so the latest year will always be at the top. Always remember that, which is 2023. Divide by 1.2 and then times 100, you will get the corresponding price index, which is 150. So Z is actually 150 divided by 100 multiplied by 1.2. And then you will end up with the answer RM 1 ringgit 80 cent. So there are three significant answers here: 1.8, 1.62, and 120. And that will be the first 3 marks of your Form 4 Chapter 10. Okay, I hope you are clear with this one. It's a simple and straightforward 3 marks. And then we're going to move on with part B, B1. For B1, right, it says, the composite index for the production cost of the biscuit year 2023 based on 2022 is 135. Find the ratio of of ingredient A to ingredient B used. Okay, that means in the end, right, I just have to compare or write down their ratios for A and B. So that means I have to go and find my N value and my M value first. Malaysia and Negeri Sembilan, these two things. Okay, so how do I do that? Okay, we're gonna create equation. Okay, let me show you how. The equation is simple. You take 135 equal to, all right, this is the price index of every ingredient, and this is the weightage, right? So I want you to apply the composite index formula. The price index times the weightage. So that will be 130 times n plus, and then we also have, this is 120. So 120 times n plus n. You can write it this way. Okay, and then we also have 160 times m over 3 and 150 times 2n. Okay, let us write that down. M over 3 plus one more is 150 times 2n. Okay, and then divided by everything that involve the weightage. M over 3 plus 2n. Okay, so the next step is you have to expand the equation. This is 130n plus 120m plus 120n, and this one you end up with 160m over 3, and this is 300n. Okay, for the bottom right denominator, what you will achieve here is 1n, 2n, and another 2n. So total is 4n. Okay, what about the Malaysia thing? Okay, now m over 3, everybody, is the same as 1 over 3m. And then in front of this m is 1, right? So if you press calculator, 1 plus 1 over 3, okay, definitely you're going to get 4 over 3 here. Okay, this is how it works. And then on your left, it's always the same. And then you want to move this to the left. So 135 times 4n plus 4 over 3m equal it to, all right, now you can do some simple maths again. We have n, we have n, we have n. I want you to add up all those numbers. So 130, 120, and 300, that will give you 550 n. Okay, and then for the Malaysia part, this is 120 plus 160 over 3, 160 over 3. So that you will end up with 5, oops, you will end up with 520 over 3, and then Malaysia. All right, then the next thing is you're going to expand here. So by expanding this, I suppose you're going to get 540n plus 180m, okay, equal to 550n plus 520 over 3m. Now, because this is annoying, there's a denominator 3 here. I will consider make full equation multiplied by 3. So this one I will get 1620n. This is 540m. And this one become 1650n. And this will remain 520 but with the m. So I'm going to move m on one side, n in one side. So 540 m minus 520m equal to 1650n minus 1620n. 540 minus 520, I get 20, and I get 30n on my right hand side. To make it ratio, right, everybody, please remember m over n. Move the n to the left, move your 20 to the right. So become 30 over 20. And how do you see this is that m over n, right, 30 and 20, right, can be simplified. They both can divide by 10. So you make sure you simplify to the simplest form. You get 3 over 2 here. And then I need you to also understand this. M is 3, n is 2. So we look at this, this way. This is m and this is n here. Okay, so right now, if let's say my ingredient A, right, the weightage is n, right? And then my ingredient B, the weightage is n plus n. So if we talk about A and B ratio, this is n and this is n plus n, right? Just to double check, yeah. So that means the value here, n is 2, but this is 3 plus 2. So you get here 2 to 5. Okay, so the ratio for AB is 2 to 5. That is how you solve your question B. Okay, so we are done with B. Let's proceed with the last part, which is C here. It's B2. Okay, it's B2. The production cost of 200 biscuits in the year 2022 is 25. The price of each ingredient is expected to increase. Price of each ingredient is expected to increase by 20.25% from the year 2023 to 2025. In the year 2025, the box used to feed 40 biscuits is expected to cost 1 ringgit 50 cent per unit. And then in the year 2025, 45 ringgit is allocated to produce 200 biscuits, including the purchase of the box. Determine whether the or not the allocation is enough. Okay, cool. Now this question, right, it seems complicated though. But the more time you read, slowly you'll get it. All right. So I'm gonna put down my working steps and explanation underneath here. Okay. So where do we start? We start from the very first statement. From the first statement, right, it tells me that the composite index of year 2025 based on 2023 is 120.25. Now this is because they say expected to increase 20 to 20.25% from the year 2023 to 2025. So this is what I get as a result for composite index of 25 based on 23. I get 120.25. Okay. The next thing is they are asking me whether the allocation is enough, right? I actually have to go and find out what is, all right, what is the, hold on, let me just double check. Okay, what is the 2025 based on 2022 composite index first? I have to go and find this out first. You know why? Because they only give me the cost in 2022. I have to go and find out the cost in 2025 first. I mean, I have to go and find out what is the cost of 2025. If I don't have that right, I couldn't even know whether my money allocated is enough or not. So since I don't have that, okay, I have to go and find. And before I can even find the cost in 2025, I must have the composite index of 25 per 22 first. So I would always encourage my student to do this. We have 2022, 2023, and 2025, right? Always draw a smiling face here. Okay, draw a smiling face here. And we just got our 25 per 23, which is 120.25 here. Put it down. Do we have composite index of 23 based on 22? I suppose we have, because in the previous question, it is 135, as you can see on our left hand side. So you see, as I discussed earlier, I need to have the composite index of 25 based on 22. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. So to get your underneath line here, which is composite index of 25 based on 22 directly, is to take the double short line, multiply them together, and then divided by 100. This is a fixed way of doing it. So if you press this calculator, you will end up with an answer 162.3375. This is the composite index that you get. Okay, what do you do with this composite index? Okay, let me share with you. Okay, at this point, I will have to minimize this, move up a bit, and then I'm going to move this towards the left side of it. Okay, I'm going to continue on our right hand side here. So what do we do with this? Okay, we can write down the cos 2025 divide by cos 2022 times 100 will give you the exact composite index here. Now, some students might confuse, sir or teacher, why can we actually write a price index equation and then equal to the composite index answer? Now, my answer to you is the composite index, right, can be also get it through this way. Or I should say, composite index, okay, is not always must be times weightage. Okay, it is not always must multiply the weightage, I mean the price index to get that. But at the same time, right, you have to understand everything is tied together in terms of the cost, in terms of the profit. They will all lead to 162.3375. So right now, since we don't know what is the cost in 2025, you take this one as your X value, but the cost in 2022 is 25 ringgit. It is very clear to us. So 25 times 100, you get 162.3375. So your X will be 162.3375 divided by 100 times 25. And that is how you get your cost in 2025. Now you must understand what does this cost mean? The cost here means the production cost of making those biscuit, all right, of making those biscuit 200 pieces. So over here you will get your X is Rm 40 ringgit and 58 cent. So when it comes to year 2025, it will cost you 40 ringgit point 58 cent to produce 200 biscuit. To produce 200 biscuit. Now, if you understand the questions, the last statement says 45 ringgit allocated to produce 200 biscuit, which we just found out we need 40 ringgit point 58 cent to produce the 200 biscuit, including the purchase of the box. The box is different because you have the biscuit, you need the packaging, right? You need a box to actually fill them in. So it says here in the previous statement, the box used to feed 40 biscuit is expected to cost 1 ringgit 50 cent in 2025. So we have to additionally calculate the cost for the box. Okay, one unit can only feed 40 biscuit, but you have 200 biscuit. So how many unit do you need? You need how much? You can ask yourself. So definitely you need 5 box, right? 5 box in order to feed 200 biscuit, because one box is 40, so 5 box is 200. Okay, so now 5 box means I have to take 5 times rm 1 ringgit 50 cent, because one unit of the box is 1 ringgit 50 cent. So 5 times 1 ringgit 50 cent, you got rm 7 ringgit 50 cent, and that is how much you would cost in total, which is rm 40 ringgit point 58 cent plus rm 7 ringgit 50 cent. Okay, you end up at rm 48.08. So if let's say your budget is only 45 ringgit, do you think it's enough for you in 2025 to actually make up 200 biscuit and also to put it all into your box? The answer is no, because you only have 45 ringgit. But in actual, you actually need how much? You need 48.08 cent to actually fill up everything that you produce. So what we can answer here is no. Over here, right, 48.08, you write here this is greater than 45 ringgit. So you answer here no. The allocation is not enough. Not enough because RM 48.08 is greater than RM 45, and then short of, this is SHORT, short of RM 3 ringgit and 8 cent. And that is how you're going to answer the questions, because you must have a no. Since they ask you determine whether or not the allocation is enough, well, our answer is no, and then only we justified it with our reason. Okay, and so that is the overall form 4 chapter 10 discussion, and that is also the end of the video for today. Thank you for staying by. I would like to see you in another video. Bye bye.